fine evening. So do you think the politics in Ohio have changed as much as they have in Washington?
Yes.
The atmosphere?
Oh, the atmosphere is just.
You've been around for a while.
This is the most. You know, it's interesting, George. As I look, this 25th year in the House, and I was there when the Democrats had 62 votes. I'm now there when the Republicans have 60 votes. And the major difference between those two chambers, those two groups of legislators, is that we were led by a very strong, the Democrats were led by a very conservative leader, Vern Rife. Today, we have a very conservative House being led by a conservative leader with a conservative Senate, which have 60 votes and 23 votes. The majorities are very strong. They have made it very clear they don't need to work with us.
Sounds like a mirror image of Washington.
It is to a certain extent. It can be frustrating because you look at, for example, you had House members, Democrats. We won 39 seats, but we got about 135,000 more votes than the Republican candidates.
Are you talking about gerrymandering?
Well, and the same thing happened in Congress. I mean, we get more votes, but we have far less representation. Ohio is a 50-50 state.
So, but the gerrymandering makes it different, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes it 60 to 39. I mean, that's exactly.
Well, gerrymandering has happened on both sides of the aisle.
Oh,
Are you
no
suggesting
question.
that the Republicans have been a little more overt about it, or what's the deal here?
Well, what did I say? I said I served with 62 Democrats.
Yeah, right.
So absolutely, the majority rules. The majority who wins the apportionment vote. And but has it become blatant? No more blatant today than it was 40 years ago.
So you're saying that nothing has really changed?
No.
So
That's why we need to change the process. That's why the process has to be changed, because you should not have politicians drawing lines.
But there was a ballot proposal that went down pretty resoundingly.
I don't think people understood that ballot issue.
You don't think people?
No, I don't think people had any idea, and I think that's the reason why it was defeated. People don't. That's a pretty technical aspect of government. When you start talking,
it's pretty influential. Maybe technical was pretty influential, isn't it?
Oh yes. It influences public policy for a decade. It'll influence public policy, and now we have a situation where we have an extremely conservative governor. We have an extremely conservative, the most conservative House of Representatives I've ever served in, and we have an extremely conservative Senate. And that's why I find it extremely interesting when we pass a bill to bond the turnpike for $1.5 billion when we have all these so-called fiscal conservatives voting to borrow money because John Kasich asked them to.
So do you think you have any equals to blue dog kind of Democrats, much the same as the blue dogs in Washington? Conservative Democrats? Fiscally conservative Democrats.
Not that far.
Not as far as blue dogs.
No. I mean, there are some conservative Democrats, but not there aren't any conservative Democrats. No, not enough to jump over and start voting with the Republicans now.
Ron, I really appreciate you coming down to do this. You got enough there, Sarah? Sarah puts this together. She edits something, she